Now, we're going to get a perspective on an area of the industry that is often overlooked, but which is clearly leveraging its benefits in digitisation. That is the business of gas measurement and analysis. And that's where we turn to Stephen Gibbons, Global Market Manager for Continuous Gas Analyzers at ABB Measurement and Analytics. With wide-ranging experiences spanning 20 years at ABB and extended periods living and working on 3 different continents, Stephen has a broad view of the world of process and environmental gas measurement. Viewers may remember we spoke to Stephen in an exclusive GasWorld webinar in March about the circular economies and how these are impacting on gas analysis. And now we're going to get his insights on the effects of digital. Stephen, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Yeah, it's good to see you again, and thanks a lot for having me. Sustainability is a topic that's really close to my heart, and I've really enjoyed being a guest with GasWorld these last few weeks. Digitisation, on the other hand, for me is just a fun, creative topic. It's all about problem solving, and there's some big challenges there too. You know, how to realise the benefits of all this data that exists. But there's also some really low-hanging fruit that's ripe to be picked and used. Just recently, for example, we've had really positive discussions with a major industrial gas player to automate the calibration of their gas analyzer fleet. And these are solutions that we've had for years. So it does kind of show that there's still quite a way to go there. On the development side, what we typically do with traditional R&D tends to take a while, but what we see now with digital solutions, that it moves so much faster. We follow lean, agile methods to quickly develop and then iterate on these digital software solutions, creating more and more value on almost on a weekly basis. And what I'd like to share today is a bit more of how we're getting up into the higher branches of the trees with some of these solutions, but also that there's plenty of low-hanging fruit as well. So specifically for gas analyzers, I'd like to talk about what role digital plays there. And many of the gas analyzers that you use on an air separation unit or a steam methane reformer are critical to safety. And obviously that needs to be the first and foremost thing that we take care of, but also on the back end, on the quality of the product or the gas that's produced. And then there's also a compliance aspect as well, where the analyzers are often used for making sure that the gases are produced in an environmentally friendly way. So if you look at an air separation unit measuring the total hydrocarbons on the feed air, that would be an example of a very critical application. But then towards the end, measuring the oxygen purity, impurities in the nitrogen and argon. Just as an example, the trace oxygen measurement that you would typically see on the nitrogen stream, if that analyzer gets poisoned with a high concentration of oxygen coming from air, can take many hours before it stabilizes. And during that time, you're not able to deliver that product to your customer. That's just one example. There are many others that I could share as well. On a steam methane reformer, feedstock composition is another thing. Sulfur compounds, moisture, things that we don't want to be getting in there. Catalyst poisoning is another one. And then the impurities in your hydrogen stream at the back end can also be something that cause problems further downstream. So beyond accuracy on those measurements, availability is then key. And also then speed in terms of response if something goes wrong is paramount. And ABB's been investing heavily in digital software solutions. The initial focus of those investments have been on faster fault reporting, diagnosis of faults, and then getting those things repaired as quickly as possible. One example that I'd like to share is something we call dynamic QR codes. It's a clever feature to improve troubleshooting. Really what we're doing there is we're encoding all the relevant diagnostic information from the analyzer device into a QR code that's generated automatically on the display of the product. The operator can come to that analyzer, take a picture or scan it with a free QR code reader. ABB also has an app that you can use. And then you fire that information into ABB via email or SMS in whatever form you want. We then decode it, and in one transmission, basically, you've got all the relevant diagnostic information for that product, which allows us to really quickly and easily offer solutions, what to do next to solve that issue. We've gone a step further with a solution called condition monitoring for measurement devices, where we take the same diagnostic information, but we monitor that continuously, comparing it against factory benchmarks, and produce health check reports that we send by email to the operator of the equipment to identify if there's anything that looks like it's starting to get out of control. And we're adding into that solution trending capabilities and much more as the weeks go by. So there's the main benefit there is really avoiding surprises and also avoiding unplanned downtime. On remote options, I mean, traditional services, we offer things like guaranteed response time via phone or even guaranteed mobilization of an engineer. But particularly in these COVID times, we found that remote assistance is hugely valuable in order to avoid unnecessary downtime. It's very common for gas analyzers to be able to remotely dial in and see and do everything from the human machine interface that the plant also can. And thankfully, just before COVID times, we went a step further there and we introduced a product called Remote Insights. And that product is it's a two-way video app. So the plant can be there with some kind of mobile device or even a headset looking at the equipment. We would be on the other end with the same app, seeing what the plant is seeing. So we can really then walk through with the customer what to look for to diagnose what's going wrong. We can take snapshots of what we see and overlay instructions on that snapshot and send it back. And then all the time talk through the customer what steps need to be taken. And very often with that approach, we can avoid the site visit. But if a site visit is necessary, it means we come much better prepared for whatever that issue is. In terms of where the industry is going, we're not standing still on the measurement side. So recently we've innovated on paramagnetic oxygen measurement, for example, where we've replaced the glass dumbbell and microscopic manual work that's needed to produce those analyzers with a silicon-based sensor and semi-automatic manufacturing, which results in higher precision, but also lower drift on the measurement. And that's very, very critical for very high concentrations of oxygen and very low concentrations as well. Laser analyzer technology is also continuing to iterate and evolve. ABB offers a solution called off-axis ICOS technology, which builds on the cavity ring down spectroscopy method, which some of you may be familiar with. And we add on to that chemometrics that you typically find in FTIR based analyzers to measure down in the parts per billion and even parts per trillion level in complex streams. But digital has a huge role to play in the future. And we're already moving towards predictive maintenance, applying machine learning algorithms to the data. And we're actively working on an open architecture asset and fleet management platform, which incorporates all of that intelligence. And then we're continuing to develop on augmented reality as well for these remote insight solutions. So yeah, we really see that the future is bright, and ABB is a great place to drive these trends. We have access to lots of very smart people in the organization that are helping us on our journey, which then enables us to help our customers on their journey as well.